Yahoo, konnichiwa. My name is Abby. I live in Japan. I'm fluent in Japanese, and I'm back to tell you more things you didn't notice about Silent Hill F. Go watch the other video on my page first, then come back for this one. Now, the main B plot point of Silent Hill F is Kitsune no Yomeiri. Translated directly, this means the fox's taking of a bride, or the fox's wedding. In Japanese folklore, Kitsune no Yomeiri means one of two things. Number one is if it is raining while the sun is out, a sun shower. This is said to be a favorite time for foxes to have their weddings. Second one, which I think connects more to Silent Hill F, is ghost lights. Deep in the forests of Japan, you can see ghost lights floating through the trees. In ancient times, people thought those looked like a wedding procession walking through the forest. They decided to call this phenomenon Kitsune no Yomeiri. So why did they go with foxes? Why couldn't it have been a human wedding? Well, foxes in Japanese mythology are considered tricksters. They're messengers of the gods, and they also have a lot of power, but they're not quite human. They kind of serve a role like elves in Western folklore. Never trust a fox. One theory as to why ancient Japanese people decided to call this Kitsune no Yomeiri is because the ghost lights, when you see them moving through the forest, if you approach them, they disappear and you realize there's nothing there. You've been tricked by the foxes. Never trust a fox, never trust a fox. What's unusual about this is that actually typically in Japanese folklore, it is a fox disguising themselves as a woman because they're shapeshifters in order to trick a human man into marrying them. Just another little prank that foxes like to play. In Hinako's case, it's kind of a metaphor for the way that marriage worked in 1960s Japan, in which the woman is expected to enter her husband's home, take on her husband's identity, and work with her husband's family, fundamentally leaving her own identity behind, which was actually not traditionally the case in Japan. For hundreds and hundreds of years, most married couples lived separately in their own home, or the husband entered the woman's family more often. But during the Showa era, which is when the game takes place, is when things started to change. Now that we've got all that background out of the way, let's talk about Tsuneki Kotoyuki. Tsuneki Kotoyuki is written like this. First of all, these kanji are super obscure, even though his name isn't that rare. So let's break this down. His first kanji, tsune, can also be read as jo. You'll find it most commonly used in things like nichijou seikatsu. It means habitual, constant, everyday. The second one here, being pronounced ki, is yorokobi. This means joy, to be pleased, to be delighted. However, written together, they are uncommonly pronounced tsuneki, which is a play on the word kitsune, fox. So his last name means typical joy, but it means fox. And we know that Kitsune no Yomeiri is an illusion. So maybe this everyday happiness is too. I think this constantly delighted thing also plays into his character and how he refuses to react the entire time in a normal way to the situation. He continues to be calm and smiling and friendly, even as Hinako does awful things to herself in order to proceed with the wedding. That's part of what makes his character so eerie. His first name is made up of the characters Su and Shiawase. So Su, here pronounced koto, in general means long, as in longevity, as in long life, long marriage, long happiness. Fun fact, it's also the original way to write sushi. But something that blew my mind when I first saw this kanji is that is the exact same kanji that is typically written on Japanese ceremonial wedding notes. When attending weddings here in Japan, you are expected to bring a certain amount of money inside an envelope for the couple. You are expected to bring it in this very traditional envelope. They are expensive, often very beautiful, and very decorative. And what is written on these traditional ceremonial wedding notes meant to celebrate the new couple's happiness and longevity? This mother's name. And the last kanji in his name? That's easy. It means happiness. Shiawase, everyday delights, married happily. That's his name. And it's a play on the word fox. And foxes always lie, and it's never real, because none of it is real. It was never real. His actual name serves to explain that marriage may offer you on paper joyfulness and eternal happiness, but in reality there might be something much darker hiding behind that promise. I have so much I could go into. This game is crazy, you guys. I'm planning to make maybe 1 or 2 more videos, but ask me any questions you have in the comments and I will do my best to answer. We're in this together. I just really want to explain the monsters and the enemies in the game and what they mean. Hi, my name is Abby. I live in Japan. I'm 27 years old, and the guy I was dating for 2 months has a girlfriend that he lives with. So I met this guy on Bumble. We're gonna call him. If you know me, you know that I'm from Oregon, and it's kind of rare. There's not that many Oregonians in Japan. I met this guy on Bumble, and he went to Oregon State University. He had lived in Oregon for something like 4 years. It was kind of a crazy connection. Like, being from small town Oregon, you don't always find people who understand where you're from. The girl has not had an easy time with dating in the past, okay? It's been rough. He lives nearby, so we're hanging out like all the time. Like, 2 to 4 times a week we're meeting up and getting dinner or hanging out or whatever. But he never wants me to like come stay at the night at his house. He's always like, no, we should wait until we're dating, like make things official, which is quite common and standard here in Japan. It's considered like respectable, right? So I'm like, wow, what a gentleman. What a great guy, right? Right. Things are getting more serious. We like go on some trips together. I'm like, hey, when can I come over to your place? And he's like, 家に来てほしいけど、ちょっと今は難しいかもしれない。なんかおばあちゃんが入院してて、で、その後誰かがおばあちゃんの面倒見ないといけないから、ちょっと今、一時期家に泊まってるんだよね. And I was like, oh my god, no pressure. I'm so glad your grandma is doing okay. But what's funny is I also made the joke, it was supposed to be a joke, of saying, 怪しすぎるよ、それ。そういうパターンなんか裏で同棲してる彼女がいるとか He was like, come on, what the hell, what are you talking about? Me? You think I have a girlfriend at home? And I was like, I don't know, you spend an awful lot of time with me, but I don't know. And he was like, oh my god, it's not funny, don't make jokes like that. I reiterate. So we're dating for 2 months, we go on like multiple overnight trips to different places. Then one day, I noticed that he's on Bumble again. I confront him about this. I'm like, hey, I just want to understand, like, are you feeling insecure about us? Are you feeling unsure? Because, you know, we've been together for a while now and I thought we were moving in a direction of like making this official. Why are you downloading dating apps again? I kid you not. The story he told me was that his younger sister is going to Italy next year. She asked him, 兄ちゃん、なんかイタリア人の友達いないか? He doesn't, so he decided to download Bumble to find and make friends with Italians to get advice on Italian travel tips to Italy. ChatGPT 使えばなんで出会いアプリで旅行のアドバイスを聞くの？意味わかんないんですけど。So I was like, okay, I need some space because I think you're lying to me. And he was like, you think I'm using an app designed to meet and talk to girls? To meet and talk to girls? What? Hey Google, how do you say gaslighter in Japanese? Anyway, skip forward a week. This guy reaches out to me to invite me to come with him to his hometown in Miyagi to meet his grandmother. And I guess he's got like another apartment up there or something. So he wants me to come meet his grandmother, stay at his apartment, stay for this like 3-day weekend, make it a whole trip. I was like, whoa, I'm not sure because of the little Bumble thing that happened just recently. Like, I kind of need to take a step back. He's like, okay, well, just like think about it. Just think about it. I was like, okay. I don't hear from him for a few more hours. And that very same day, it's like a Tuesday, I get a text from him at midnight. And the text says, 宮城に来ないで。彼女にバレたわ。彼女? So I reply like, dude, not funny. This is not funny. You drunk? What's going on? So I try to call him. He doesn't pick up. I call my other friend. I'm like, oh my god, what is going on? She's like, girl, you gotta get in touch with him. You gotta call him back. Figure out what's going on here. So I call him back and someone picks up the phone. A Japanese woman. And she says, はい、もしもし. And I say, 誰ですか? 彼女です。彼女。あ、そうだったんですね。彼女さんですね。はいはいはいはいはい。って何？どういうこと？か、そうですね。どのくらい付き合ってるんですか? I literally, I blacked out. My brain could not compute. I asked this girl, 先生申し訳ないんですけど、英語は話せないんですよね、さすがに. She did. She did. So I guess the both of them are fluent English speakers. In a panic, I just started apologizing. This isn't my fault. I had no idea she existed. This girl proceeds to tell me they've been together for 6 months, that they live together, that they're planning on getting married, and that she knows everything about us. And she says, 私の彼氏に会うのやめてくれませんか? Like, はい、やめます。ぜひぜひやめます。もう喜んでやめます。This dude stalked me on Instagram and tried to beg for me back by making up some insane lie that his ex-girlfriend broke into his house, stole his phone, and used it to call me, and that he's called the police many, many times on her. And I was like, oh, that's great. So you can take a screenshot of your call history and show me that you called the police. Bro, you didn't call the police. You did not call the police. Then he tried to pivot and tell me he was with her at an izakaya. It was dead silent. You were not at an izakaya, my man. Then he tried to pivot again and tell me that his ex-girlfriend must have called me online from his American phone, but you can only have line profiles on one phone and one computer at the same time. You have to delete all the information off the previous one. So how would he be messaging me the same day and then his girlfriend have his American phone from 6 months ago? Like, it's not adding up, my dude. When this happened to me, I was like, this is like a Reddit story. This does not check out. This doesn't happen in real life. Apparently it do. Luckily, the girl has 300,000 followers, so she can make money off of her drama. Anyway, follow me for more crazy stories about living in Japan. Jenny.
We're in international relationships. Of course, he's twice my height.
We're in international relationships. え、私の彼氏ちっちゃいけど。
We're in international relationships. Of course, I use him to learn English.
え、元彼喋ってたんだよね。
あれ、そうだっけ？
We're in international relationships. Of course, everyone asks me about the size.
実際どうなの？
え、言わない。
In international relationships. Of course, we argue in two different languages.
We're in international relationships. Of course, my major in college was international relations. え、今度ダブルデートする？
行きたい。
ひなこはね。
かわいいっすね。かわいいっすね。ジャパニーズ。え、日本語わかる？わかる。え、わかるんだ。すごい。やべえ。え、どっから来たの？えアメリカか。俺アメリカ大好きなんだよね。ラップかっこいいよね。俺ら、大阪と名古屋のハーフ。で、飲み行こうよ、一緒に。いっぱいがもうおごってあるから。わかった行くから。わかった？え、一人暮らししてる？この近く？俺？もう、終電逃した。もう終電ないんだよね。どうしようね。どうすればいいと思う？ちょっと待って。